Welcome, recruits. You're now in the Army of 1860.
Sir, yes, sir.
Now, there obviously are a lot of conflicts happening. Things are going down. There's some political issues, social strife throughout the country. And you are going to have to make a decision in a couple days, in a couple months, as to what side you're going to fight for. But you are lucky enough to have me here to tell you a little bit about what your experience would be like no matter what side you choose. There are two sides. We have Confederate and Union. The Confederate is located in the southern states, and the Union is, of course, located in the northern states. Now, what we're going to be doing is the life of a Civil War soldier, and you're going to learn the school of the soldier. So the first thing you need to do is enlist. Company! Left face! Right face!
Sir, yes, sir.
Nope, you should be facing straight again, guys. It's only a 90 degrees turn.
Oh.
Shoulder pull. Support pull. Carry pull. Order pull. Front.
Good. A pleasure to have you in our company, nonetheless.
You look fine.
Very good, sir.
Halt. Guard. 3 cheers for General Beauregard. Hip hip.
Hooray! Hooray! Hooray!
I'm Ken Buckey. I'm the Assistant Surgeon for the South Carolina Infantry Battalion that's newly formed here at Fort Moultrie. And I know a lot of people, they don't like surgeons because they think we're butchers of sorts, but it's not true. We are here to help the soldiers and aid them. Before me, you see a pocket kit. This is what I would carry in the field with me. This bullet extractor here. And this, of course, if the man are wounded by any type of shrapnel device, I could take this and remove it from them. Also have a retractor, which is used for any ligaments that I may need to pull out, or veins, or also to retract skin flaps as I'm doing my operations.
All right, boys, get in line. What? Single file here, boys. To touch. Thank you, Captain. Oh, that's good.
That other stuff did look like he just cleaned out his musket.
That's good. Bless you, sir.
Yeah.
All right.
Just kind of early in the war.
All right.
Well, since provisions are running low, breakfast was a little sparse. We had bacon lardons and grits flavored with a little bit of molasses. And normally there would be maybe some dried fruit, maybe some vegetables somewhere along the way, but not at this time. Oh, actually, I'm a professional chef, and got my degree a couple years ago, and with back and knee problems, I don't go out marching and drilling too much anymore, so this is a little bit easier. And when we go on the road, we just pack a few things with us and try our cook impression around the country.
I am portraying Major Robert Anderson. He was the commander of all of the forts here at Charleston Harbor, but only in possession of one of those forts. You just soap her up real good and just keep soaping. It's really important that you build her in. I had to learn how to shave. It's a nice 19th century skill. I'm not going to bring out, an electric razor. No, not going to do that. I'm going to do this. And why? It helps you get into the feeling of what they were doing and how they operated. And little things like that, they really get you in the spirit of what was going on. You see things a little differently. But really, this is a civilized thing to do, and it does slow you down. Part of it, I think, comes from, my grandmother. I remember her telling tales of her grandfather, who was a Confederate veteran. So her eyes had seen the eyes of a Confederate veteran, and there's something that just, wow, that was interesting, and I just kind of got into history, and there's something kind of cool. I think everybody wants to be able to get on the time machine and go forward a little bit, see what's going on, or go past, or back in the past a little bit. This is how I get to do that. It really is. There's something to that.
Well, basically, I'm the sergeant major of the forces that are outside Fort Moultrie. Yesterday, I laid out the camps for the 300-man militia battalion. It's 3 separate companies. Right now, I'm Fred Polston. I'm just a civilian here from Charleston. When I roll back to the 19th century, I'm going to become Sergeant Major Zimmerman Dixon, who was the Sergeant Major of Butlersford, South Carolina. So I'll be the senior enlisted man of all the troops here.
So you're going to have to lose your sunglasses and your cell phone. What will you do without your cell phone?
It'll be difficult, but I've been reenacting for 22 years, so cell phones are a new item, but I don't miss it if I don't have it. I just enjoy doing things like this, and most of us, because we, fell in love with history probably at a younger age. I mean, because there's reenactment units in the North and the South. It's not strictly a Southern thing. It's just, people that enjoy their history and their heritage. We all like to do it just to get that 1 second of feeling what our kin had to go through and experience what they experienced.
There we go. That's all it takes. I started about 6 years ago. The 26 that I'm a member of have enough uniforms that if you wanted to join, they'll let you do it for a weekend to see if you like it, because it is expensive. And the average man puts close to $2,000 in his uniform and musket and everything else that he needs. But you don't have to have it all up front. You can gradually go into it. They're very sticky on your uniform. Everything has to be correct, period.
Okay. Confederate?
Yes.
Okay. Cockade, wear that at all times.
We are inspecting the reenactors' weapons as they're arriving on site. Basically, it means making sure the weapons are clean, that they're serviceable, is safe, and not a danger to them or anyone else. The weapons they'll be using this weekend are percussion black powder weapons, both smoothbore and rifled weapons, which were historically what were carried here during the time. I've gone through the National Park Service historic weapons training, which is something you have to go through to be able to get the train on weapons safety and how to properly supervise the programs. Make sure, once again, safety first. So I'm from the Chickamauga and Chattanooga National Military Park in North Georgia and southeast Tennessee. one of the oldest battlefield parks in the country is there, and site of a battle 2 years, a little over 2 years after the events that occurred here. So.
All right, so as everybody probably, or everybody should already know, Fort Sumter is the site where the first shots of the American Civil War were fired, right? Right, good. This is a war that had claimed over 620,000 lives by the time it was finished in 1865. So, of course, it began here in 1861. It does remain the bloodiest war that our nation has ever seen in terms of American lives lost. It's hard to fathom this loss of life and what Americans were dealing with back in the 1860s. If we would have lived back then, all of us would have known somebody who died during this war. So this was a war that impacted all Americans' lives. There were 4 million enslaved African Americans who were freed as a result of this war. And with the end of slavery, or with the end of the Civil War, new amendments were added to the Constitution. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery. The 14th Amendment established that former slaves were citizens of the United States. And then the 15th Amendment gave voting rights to all male citizens of age. It's a very complex war. It's very transformative. And all that started right here at Fort Sumter, almost exactly 150 years ago.
Good morning, and what an honor to be here today. On behalf of the National Park Service, I would like to welcome our park friends, partners, and special invited guests for this commemoration and observance of the Sesquicentennial of the first shots of what was to become known as the Civil War, or war between the states. Oftentimes when standing inside this fort, I try and imagine what it was like on that day 150 years ago. Could any one of the soldiers inside the fort, or those that fired upon Fort Sumter, have imagined that the actions of that day would plunge this country into 4 years of bloody war that was to cost over 600,000 lives? Although that bloody conflict ended in 1865, some of the repercussions of those shots still resonate within our society today.
Charleston in the 18th and 19th century became a major shipping port, and as the largest city in the South, was the region's center of wealth and culture. The foundation of the economy was the slave labor-based plantation system.
This is called the crossing, and it starts with me as a slave. They took us to this building, and the next morning they took us out into the water and put us on that slave ship. I don't know how long we were there. All I know is the ship that I was on took us to Richmond, Virginia. They took us to this building and they got us cleaned up. And the next day they took us to the auction block. The first time I was on the auction block, I wasn't sold. But the next day I was sold to a man who had a tobacco plantation. All children started work at 4 years old. They had a man that watched us, and he was called an overseer. I was scared of that man. I'd seen him beat those children, and I'd seen him beat the grown-ups. And one day I was out there, and I heard the horse coming, and I knew it was the overseer. And I'm pulling the worms off of the tobacco plant, and I pulled one of the leaves off. And that's when he stopped his horse. And he got off of his horse, and the next thing I know, he's beating me with his whip. I've got marks on this old back that'll last until the day I die. I've been sold a lot of times. I'm old now. But I know that one of these days, I'm going to be free. Soon I will be done with the troubles of the world. Troubles of the world. Troubles of the world. Oh, soon I will be done with the troubles of the world. I'm going home to live with God. I'm going home to live with God. First of all, you like to play ball, don't you? Mm-hmm. This is a ball that they would have played with. Look at that, made out of stock. Got real cotton inside of it. Okay? And for the girls, they would have made a doll. Mama would have made a doll that looked something like this. We've got a lot to be thankful for. I know I'm thankful. I never would have dreamed that I would be sharing this part of history, which is a part of history that is very hurting in some ways. But by my being in the South, I'm just hoping I'm able to bring it to life for those who have not yet heard it.
What do you think about, it seems like some people don't want to revisit that time because
Yes.
it's painful. What would you say to them why you're justifying?
I understand, but we have to let our young people know how blessed they are because of what our people did and others did during that time. We've got every single thing that they wanted. My son, you saved my life. The oldest son is going to be me because I'm his oldest.
Today, April 14th, which we're speaking, we just came back from Fort Sumter where we had a reenactment of the Union garrison leaving Fort Sumter and the Confederates taking over control of the fort. And that was, again, another nice event. We did it 5 times today for 5 of the boats that arrived. And I think it was a really positive finale to most of our events. We'll continue to have reenactors at Sumter and Fort Moultrie through Sunday, but by and large, for the park, much of the real special activities ended today. There were a lot of events going on at Liberty Square, lots of children's activities. We had a book signing ceremony for the Park Service release of the official Civil War handbook. There was a special Postal Service program down there when they had the first day release of new stamps, one on Fort Sumter, the other on First Bull Run. The media interest, the media scrutiny has been intense.
So the fort doesn't look really anything the way it did in April of 1861.
These guys are the Union. They're departing. They've given up on trying to defend Fort Sumter, but they marched off the fort very honorably. So these are some of our reenactor community.
Playing Yankee Doodle in Hail, Columbia.
And where are you from, young man?
I'm from Waynesboro, Pennsylvania.
Came all the way from Pennsylvania for this event. Yeah, we appreciate it. Did a nice job.
It's an honor.
You're ready to go though, aren't you?
Yeah,
Been out there a while.
We're looking for a Chipotle, we think, after this. I call myself a Civil War buff. Now I call myself a history enthusiast more broadly, but I used to love Civil War history. I visited here a couple times when I was young. I remember seeing Rangers, and this is what I wanted to do when I grew up. So 10 years later, after my last trip here as a child, I started working at Fort Sumter. And it was one of the happiest moments of my life.
I think that anybody that has the time and available to come down here should come down and see this. It's a very worthwhile thing to do, and it's a great part of our American history.
Just the changes of how they lived and now what we have. In just 150 years, that's quite amazing. It's quite a lot to think about.